Chapter 12, The Ultimate Taboo. Not only for children, but for grown-ups living today too, the system pours forth floods of apparently meaningful information, but in reality, practically all communications are calculated to draw man away from information. This and the following chapter are once again narrated by Anastasia's grandfather. Take, for example, the TV you watch regularly. Every news broadcast tells about how one official is meeting with some other official or how one leader meets with another leader. Their meetings are served up as news. But if you stop to think about it, you'll realize that there is absolutely nothing new here at all. Officials have been meeting together for thousands of years now, hour by hour. Summit negotiations between various countries have also been taking place for thousands of years, but nothing ever comes from these negotiations, and nothing of substance ever changes as a result. It does not change because they never talk about the most important thing. They never discuss the true cause of war. They only talk about the effects. Yet the media may lead you astray by serving up every summit meeting as news. Just think about it. The ultimate taboo subject in the whole world is the path of mankind's development. Can you just imagine the passengers of an aeroplane in flight who couldn't give a care in the world as to where the plane is heading or whether it is even able to land? You may think that passengers like that don't exist. Everyone aboard a plane has an idea of how long the flight will last and the destination city, but ask her 1 or 2 or 1,000 people living on planet Earth, ask 1,000,000 even, and nobody will be able to tell you just where mankind is heading. The system created by the priests has blocked up human thought. Modern man, with his extremely slow rate of thinking, is not in a position to determine whether mankind, or even a single nation state, is on the right path of development. He is not in a position to visualize even his own life. In reality, all the leaders on the earth are in control of nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is not a single country in the world where you will find a clearly stated plan of national development. Such a plan is impossible without first determining a clear and explicit path of development for the residents of the planet Earth as a whole. As a result of a simple scheme the priests devised in the process of constructing their system, all rulers are merely superintendents watching over the functioning of the priests' system. They are all wrapped up in their own country's scientific and technical progress, their military strength, and the preservation of their own power. For this, they are ready to sacrifice the quality of the air and the water in their own country and collectively in the world. Like the majority of people on the earth, the rulers are active pawns in this system. Their thought is slowed down as much as anyone else's. The speed of one's thinking. How I hope that you or some of your readers can perceive this not just through cold logic, but feel it with every fiber of your being. Feel how important the speed of your thinking is for the entire universe. To find the right words to cite the examples needed for understanding, it is not an easy task. Examples. Anastasia compared the modern computer to a prosthesis for the brain. Footnote, see Book 1, Chapter 17, The Brain a Supercomputer. In other words, a prosthesis for thinking. It is probably true that most people most familiar with how a computer works will not only understand but also feel the importance of thinking speed more readily than others. After all, you too, Vladimir, are able to work on a computer. Maybe through the computer you are able to more quickly appreciate the catastrophic consequences of the sluggishness of human thinking. Anyone familiar with a computer knows how important for the computer is the size of its memory and its operating speed. Notice I said operating speed. Now imagine what could happen if one were to slow down the operating speed of a computer controlling an aircraft's flight or a nuclear power plant. the computer might allow an accident to happen, and that would mean a disaster. The living biological computer native to every man on the earth is incomparably more efficient than the manufactured variety. It is called upon to assist in the controlling of immeasurably more perfect and massive device, the planets of the universe. These can be governed when this biological computer operates at a speed approximating or surpassing that of the original. However, the speed has been diminishing, and it is continuing to diminish. Anyone can see this for themselves if they but examine the situation more carefully. When even the most state-of-the-art manufactured computer keeps getting loaded day by day, hour by hour with all sorts of data, doesn't matter what kind of data, only that it is being inputted, eventually it will start to work more slowly, or it may refuse to process any new information whatsoever. This happens when its memory is overloaded to the point where it can no longer accept new data. Most people on the earth today have experienced something like this, and the system created by the priests has gotten out of control. It has begun operating all on its own. When I mentioned earlier the monster devouring children, I was talking about the system which has gotten out of control. Take a careful look. When a child is born to an earthly mother, what is it that immediately takes it into its mighty clutches? The system. What determines what food is to be given to the child? The system. What determines what kind of air the child is to breathe and what kind of water he is to drink? The system. What determines the selection of his path in life? The system. The priests are losing control of the social order on the earth, and yet they are aware of the laws by which it operates and can still exercise an influence on the life of the planet. They are still able today to slow down or accelerate development in specific situations. When the first book with Anastasia's sayings appeared, the priests took an immediate interest in it. Naturally, after all, these sayings came from the mouth of a great-granddaughter of a priest, not only someone familiar with the secret levers of control, but also a young woman leading a lifestyle favorable to accelerating the operation of thought. They realized that Anastasia had set herself the goal of transporting people across the dark forces window of time. Theoretically, this is indeed a possibility. Transporting across time constitutes a change in consciousness. And it is possible to do something like this with a single individual. Substantially changing the collective consciousness of mankind is a process extending over millennia, requiring the participation of many generations. But a process extending over millennia cannot be called transporting people across a window of time. Transporting people across a window of time means changing the consciousness of people already living on the earth today, changing it to a consciousness which was or will be inherent in them under the conditions of a divine, paradisical existence. The priests tried to figure out the plan by which Anastasia was going to operate. They did work it out and deemed it to be naive, containing a plethora of questionable decisions. The means of distributing information through a book alone they regarded as clearly insufficient. Modern man, they believed, required a good deal of repetition for information to sink in. Then they learned that the book's author was an entrepreneur who not only was lacking even minimal authority among spiritually thinking people, but was a complete unknown in such circles. Subsequently, the priests decided a Siberian recluse would not be able to achieve anything significant in human society by the method chosen. My father shared in this opinion as well. The priests got their first shock and call to alertness when Anastasia's prophecies in the first book started coming true. She told you, "I shall bring to you many people who will explain to you what is incomprehensible." And people started coming to you who were not just capable of explaining something. People started to act. She said, "Artists will draw pictures, and poets will write verse." And both pictures and many poems came forth, dedicating dedicated to the new and marvelous reality of mankind's being. She said, "The book you write will be read by people in various countries. The book has now been published in many languages." The priests did not know what power or devices facilitated the realization of Anastasia's sayings, yet they are coming true for all to see. They realized that she was beginning to make her cherished dreams come true, but they could not discern the manner by which she reached the goals she set for herself. This could only mean one thing, namely that the speed of Anastasia's thinking significantly surpassed the thought of the priests. The insightful combinations produced by her thought are incomprehensible. This means that the priests might lose the opportunity to influence human society for good. This was not something the priests could permit. While they were trying to figure out patterns of counteraction, something even more incredible came to light. New sayings of Anastasia's were being made public. Many people now aspired to create the domains that she had talked about. Then Anastasia became the target for all kinds of countermeasures. One of the most effective of these was a disinformation campaign involving the magic word symbol sect. Footnote: in Russia's usage, the word sekta, or sect, is used as a synonym for the word cult. Therefore, the accusation of being a sectarian actually suggests adherence to some dangerous cult. Your press was filled with publications about various terrifying sects, including the so-called Anastasia sect. These publications still used other words like totalitarian and destructive. This particular countermeasure has been used by priests for time immemorial. In ancient Rus, it helped facilitate a change in religion. Footnote: the reference here is to the official adoption of Christianity as a state religion by Kievan Rus in AD 1988. For a more detailed description, see Book 6, Chapter 4, A Dormant Civilization. This was a tactic that never failed. In the latest case, too, priests imagined that it had done the job. You and a whole lot of readers, both who's communicated amongst themselves and those who didn't know each other, were amazed to discover that people were labeling them as sectarians. False rumors were cleverly and intensively circulated. This is why government agencies never reached a decision on the question of land grants. There was active opposition, both vocal and hidden, to the initiative to allocate land for the establishment of family domains. The system had worked. Law order priests figured that they were rid of Anastasia once and for all. Lower order priests figured they were rid of Anastasia once and for all. The high priest was the first to discern that this was not the case. He realized that in visualizing the future, Anastasia's thought had not only taken the system's countermeasures into consideration, but had also redirected them to serve the cause of good. This is what happened. The domains established according to the principles outlined by Anastasia were impossible to construct along traditional lines. They required a detailed plan of development. They involved the working out of long-term project, which would take at least a year to develop, significantly longer in some cases. Action without sufficient preparatory thought could lead to the discreditation of the ideas involved. By slowing down the process of land allocation, the authorities prevented quick action from being taken. But slowing down the process of land allocation did not enable them to destroy the dream of a bright future, or to slow down the speed of thinking on the part of many people who were in the process of imagining their future domain, not to mention the future of the country and a marvelous future for all of mankind. While Anastasia spoke about Russia's taking the lead in building this marvelous future, she well understood that it would be impossible to create a paradise in just a single community or even in a single nation state. Indeed, her dream was being adopted in the hearts of people in countries the world over. You can ascertain this, Vladimir, by the popularity of your books published in these countries. They are enjoying great acclaim today, but that is nothing compared to what the future holds, when people begin to realize. But now the priests have recognized this. Anastasia is beginning to solve mysteries they have been beating their heads over for thousands of years. Here is one of them.